Video gets into zero exponents and negative exponents. Zero exponents are really easy. You just have to remember that anything to the 0 power is 1. So if I have x to the 0, it's going to equal to 1. Same thing holds true if you have a number to the 0 power, it still equals 1. No matter what you have, it's going to be 1. The reason for that is anything over itself is just 1. So if we have x to the 5th over x to the 5th, that's 1. Same thing as having 6 over 6, all of that equals 2, 1. Now, if we were to take x to the 5th, which we know equals 1, and instead of thinking of it as 1, we think of it as a division problem, we would have 5 minus 5, which is 0, so this is going to leave us with x to the 0. We already know that this equals to 1, therefore x to the 0 equals 1. The main thing to remember with zero exponents is, first thing is that they equal to 1. The second thing is not everything becomes 1 automatically in the problem. A lot of times students will see a problem like this where they see x to the 3x to the 0 and they think that the 3x all has the 0 exponent making the whole entire thing 1, and that's not the case. The way you need to look at this problem is that it's really 3 times x to the 0. Therefore, x to the 0 does in fact become 1, but the 3 does not. Therefore, your final answer is 3. So if you pay attention to what has the 0 exponent, that'll keep you from making a lot of mistakes. We'll do one more. In this case, everything is getting the 0 exponent because everything in the problem is inside the parentheses, and the 0 is outside of it, meaning everything has the 0 exponent, so the whole entire thing is 1. Now, for negative exponents, you can never have a negative exponent in your final answers. Now, you can work with them in the problem, and a trick for negative exponents is to deal with them last. A lot of times when you multiply or divide in a problem, you'll end up clearing out the negative exponents anyway and won't have to do anything with it. So if you deal with them first, a lot of times you'll get back a negative exponent and have to get rid of it, and that's just a lot of extra work. So if you worry about them in your final answer and just get rid of them at that point, it'll save you a lot of time. Now, to get rid of a negative exponent, all you really have to do is move it to either the top or the bottom of the fraction, depending on where it's at. This is a whole number right here, meaning it's the same thing as having x to the negative 7 over 1. What we're going to do is move this down to the bottom, therefore we end up with 1 over x to the positive 7. Don't forget to change your sign when you actually move it. If we had the negative exponent on the bottom, we would again move it to the top, giving us x to the third. Don't get caught up with the idea that what we're doing is flipping the fractions here, because when you do that, you end up making mistakes later on when there's more stuff to them. For instance, 3x to the negative 2. The only thing that actually has the negative exponent here is the x, therefore that's the only thing we need to move. So if you think of this as a fraction, this portion right here is what's getting moved down. This 3 does not move down with it. And this is a common mistake, and it comes up on a lot of tests. So what you would actually have as an answer is 3 over x squared, not 1 over 3x squared, which a lot of people give that answer. A simple way to think of this would be using this problem. A real easy way to do it is draw a line for your fraction, since that's probably what you're going to end up with, and then just go down the line and look at what you have and see what needs to be changed and what doesn't. This x has a negative exponent to it, so what we're going to have to do is move that down. So we're going to rewrite it as x squared on the bottom. Same thing for the y. The y also has a negative exponent, so we're going to move it. The m to the fourth did not have a negative exponent, so there's no reason to move it, so it's going to stay up on top. This is where we need to get away from the idea of flipping it, because if we were thinking flipping, all this would go to the bottom and all this would go to the top, and we'd end up with the wrong answer. Now, when we keep going to the bottom, we have c to the negative 2, which means it needs to be moved, and it moves up as a positive, and the b to the 8, since it's not negative, it doesn't go anywhere and it stays on the bottom. Really, that's what it comes down to with negative exponents, is moving them up and down.